We'll get started. Looks like you have tea too.
I have, wait for it. What's it called? Butterscotch Blondie.
Ooh, that sounds delicious.
It's from Taza, so it's all natural.
I could probably spend a fortune on tea, but we're not here to talk about tea, and I just hit record, so we'll start talking. Yay! Welcome to our To Be Mindset call about the holidays. I am so excited. It's been a minute. We did several of these when we first started our To Be group back in May, and this is the fun part, when we get to see each other and build community and kind of talk through things, and this is the fun part. As a reminder, I know that two of you are new to Be Mindset, but for those of you listening to the recording, if you have friends that are interested in joining the To Be Mindset movement, it is on sale this month. It's $20 off, so it's a great time for people to get involved and get going in the right direction, especially after a holiday, right? Because the holiday is typically when we tend to indulge. So who's traveling this weekend? Anybody going anywhere fun?
I'm going to Cape Cod.
That's fun. I'm going to visit my dad in North Carolina. What are you doing, Tina? Are you hanging around?
Waiting for my husband to come home.
Oh yeah, he's coming home. And Susan's probably still unpacking.
No, yeah, we're just hanging here this weekend. We're so excited.
Awesome. Well, whether it's Labor Day or Thanksgiving or St. Patrick's Day or whatever day, it could just be Tuesday. I feel like our society associates everything with food and fellowship and like getting together and having parties and that kind of stuff. And it just really can be overwhelming when you're on this journey of better health to be around other people who maybe want to pull you in a different direction. So that's what this is all about. It's just getting our mindset straight and feeling confident going into this weekend and any other weekend. And rule number one, Tina knows I like to talk about this, but when you follow the two bunnies, and Susan, you'll learn all this week, but when you follow the two bunnies consistently, weight loss will be consistent. It's that simple. And the two bunnies, as a reminder, are water first, veggies most, use the scale, and track what you eat. We'll talk a lot in future weeks about try it, track it, and see. It's the beauty of using these tools to really learn your body and what works well for you, but you got to use the two bunnies. So it's when we start to do stuff, and I am so guilty. I got this, right? Like I can do this on my own. I know she says to plate it this way. I'm going to eat it this way. It doesn't work so well. So stick to the plan and you'll have great success. The biggest takeaway, if you have one thing that you'll learn from this whole call tonight, when you go to any event, whether it's Sunday brunch with your girlfriends or you go to a big holiday cookout, think about your purpose before you show up. Why are you going? And this is true of life, right? But think about what you're there for. Maybe you're going to a friend's baby shower. You are there to honor her, to celebrate, to, speak words of affirmation over her and the baby, to help her prepare. You're not necessarily there for the petafores, right? But we tend to make it about that and the punch and the cheese and crackers. Go with a purpose. And when you have a purpose, you stay with that vision and you're able to really stay on track. Alana did a call with the coaching team right when To Be Mindset came to market. And she said something that's always stuck with me, and I love this. The temptations will always be there. Okay? They're not going away. That's a constant in life. Here's another way to look at it when you start to reset your mindset. The temptations will be there 6 months from now, or 40 pounds later, or whatever it is that you're here to achieve, right? So saying no to that indulgence is okay. It's okay. So through this process, we get to make choices that will daily empower us and will daily help us build that self-attunement. And it's so much bigger than a cookout or, the dog just came back in. Guilt over what you can or cannot have. We get so focused on all the things that we can't do, when really this is such freedom and we're working on something so much bigger. So building that vocabulary and being able to say like, no thanks, I'm good. For me, it's Fritos. Like if I go to a cookout and they have Fritos there, that is like kryptonite. Anyone? Am I alone? Bueller. There's not one nutrient in those things. They're like crack. And so for me, I just have to say no to the whole experience of that. Fritos will be there 2 years from now, right? Like, I'm good. I can say, no, thanks, I'm good, and walk away and remember that this is something bigger and something greater than just the cookout. And then finally, I'm going to turn it over to Tina here in a second, but when you are in any social situation, whether you're having, again, lunch with a friend, you're at a cookout, you're having dinner with a big group of people at a restaurant, when you make a healthier choice, guess what? You give other people that are with you permission to make a healthier choice too, which is a fascinating, I mean, we could talk a lot about the studies of group mentality, but it's really, Jen's actually a teacher, and I think it's cool. I don't know how often you're in the lunchroom with your kids, but like, there is a mob mentality. If there's a bunch of unhealthy eating, they'll all gravitate towards that. If somebody, like, I remember doing enrichment days at Perimeter, and I would bring healthy stuff in, and if 1 or 2 kids would try it, they'd all try it. It's the coolest thing. It's just that act of like giving, you don't vocally give permission, but it's that kind of cool thing that rubs off on other people. All right. So Tina, talk to us about parties and cookouts and all that fun stuff.
Yay, parties and cookouts. I just wanted to piggyback for a minute on your purpose. When you're at your party or your cookout or your family reunion, whatever it happens to be. Just to set the stage here, a good way to think about it, to remember your purpose, is to pretend that you're a person, and hopefully you aren't, but you're a person with food allergies or sensitivities. Because when I was first diagnosed, I remember, there was one hair that is bothering me. Okay. I remember thinking very specifically in the doctor's office, well, I'll follow their diet, but I'm not going to make anybody make anything extra for me. I'm not going to go out of my way. I'm not going to avoid things that might embarrass somebody, my host. And after doing that for several months and really not making much headway, it finally occurred to me that it was my health that we were talking about. And it's the exact same thing here. You joined To Be Mindset. You joined all our bunnies because your health was a top priority for you. And you need to keep that mindset wherever you go. So there you go. Pretend you have a food allergy and stay away from the Fritos. And then the 2 bunnies apply at a party just as much as they do anywhere else, right? So when you first get there, you're not looking around to see what kind of beer they have or if there happens to be cider in the cooler or whatever your go-to drink is. Water first. And if you've got something, you'd not be having your water in a teacup, but it gives you your 2 hands on the wheel and it helps you fill up. And it just, get your water and take it away from the food table as well. So just because, the water is kept near the food table doesn't mean you need to stay there next to all the temptations that are going to be whispering in your ear the whole time when you're trying to concentrate on your friends and family. So, and then like everything else, the next one, veggies most. So sure, maybe it's, the middle of the afternoon and you kind of feel like a little something. Well, if you've had your water, what kind of veggie options do they have there? Of course, if you're hosting, that makes it the easiest thing because then you've got all the healthier options for your guests there. And if you think you're going to a place where there won't be any, then you be the one to bring them. You can bring a veggie tray. You can bring roast veggies, raw veggies, whatever, something that travels well. And other people will be glad that you have them there too. So you're not the only one who would benefit by your generosity there. So, some people wonder too, just depending on the timing of the event, is it a good thing to eat before you go? And absolutely, especially if it's one of those things that starts, like at 3 or 4 and, dinner might not be until 7, your Shakeology, that's a great time to have your Shakeology. Or, cauliflower rice with some stir fry and again, veggies will fill you up and keep you satisfied and away from the snacks and all the things that you would rather not be eating at that particular point in time. Keep you all out of the munchies. And then if chips, Fritos, you started it and we're back there stuff. If those are your issue, you can slice cucumbers, carrots, anything like that thin that makes them crunchy. And so you could, hummus. And I'm more of a soft veggie person. I like my grape tomatoes with hummus and that sort of thing. But any of those little, one bite things that you can dip and throw in your mouth, that feels more like a party to me anyway. So there's a few ideas for that. So Your turn again. What if we're dining out instead of partying and barbecuing?
That's great. I will say too on chips, my family has not completely come on board, but I will say I've been experimenting with different types of chips and things like plantain chips or things like there are so many bean chips. So if you can tolerate beans, there's white bean chips and black bean chips, and they just have a lot of fiber in them, and the fiber will fill you up too. They're not as high in calories. They still have that crunch. I actually really enjoy the taste. So that's another option for chips. But okay, dining out. I love me some dining out. Jen and I are foodies, so eating out is always a treat. But again, this one is going to come back to what we just talked about. Like, what is your purpose of being there? You know, it's something, generally it's something greater than food. Like you're celebrating somebody, it's somebody's birthday. It gives you the ability to have better choices when you really think about the event and not just the food. I think it's also great that when you're dining out, you know, a lot of times my old mentality, I had two mentalities. One being, if I'm on vacation, I'm in vacation mode, right? Like I will eat all the CRAP that's available because I'm on vacation, right? Like it's no calories count. Nothing counts. Like this can't harm me. That's not smart. And then also whenever I would go to a nice restaurant, I would say, oh, you know, I rarely get to eat at fill in the blank. I've got to have the most luxurious Southern fried whatever on the menu. And the reality is, no, you don't. You can. That's the beauty of 2B mindset. You totally can make a choice like that. And you try it, you track it, and you see, and you write it down. But if you're really in weight loss mode and you're being diligent about your choices and you see a beautiful salad, it may look boring to have salad. But here's the thing. You didn't cook it. You didn't clean it. Somebody else is washing the dishes. You get the night off. It's still fun. Going out is still fun. So making those healthy choices are so much easier when you're thinking about the purpose of why you're there. The second tip is, this one's great. And I don't know if this has affected you, Susan, since you just moved to a different time zone, but trying to meet people earlier. Earlier is almost always better. I feel like the geriatric crowd has it right. Like the 5:30 hour, the seafood Newberg, we can skip that part. But if you're eating around 6 or 6:30, or at least your reservation for a restaurant is around that time, they say the average person doesn't get seated and starting a meal for about 40 minutes after that first reservation time. Think about that. Like if you're at 6:30, you're not eating until well after 7:15 probably. So the later it goes, the less time you have to digest. You might not sleep as well, just a lot of that kind of stuff. And we've learned earlier is better when it comes to weight loss. I would say overall health as well. So if you can go earlier, great. Before you go out, if you haven't watched the Plate It video for dinner, watch that. And so for those of you who are working through the videos now, watch that one. And if you have watched it, rewatch it. If you're going to go away for a weekend and you're going to be dining out a lot, rewatch those Plate It videos, because that's just going to give you a great refresher on how you can structure a plate at a meal. How much protein should the plate carry? How much vegetation? And it doesn't matter the size of the plate. So if you're going to go to a Cheesecake Factory, that plate's going to be huge. They're going to pack a lot of stuff on there. That's okay. You can take some of that home. But it's just about the proportions of what you're eating. So those videos are great. And along with those videos, you're going to become, I will tell you because I have put this into action, you'll become an expert in substitutions. I used to just kind of say, okay, well, they've paired it with risotto, and I might as well try it because it comes with a dish, and that's, you know, the house specialty. Y'all can substitute whatever you want within reason. Most restaurants are happy to oblige. So if you want to have extra vegetables at dinner, so you're making that plate, 3/4 veggies, 1/4 protein, they will gladly, like I said, for the most part, do a side salad or do extra, twice the broccoli or whatever it is. Just ask, learn to ask. Let's see. And then the last tip for dining out, this one's kind of goes back to what we were talking about, giving people permission. But if you're the first one to order, and let's just say you're at the city's best burger joint, right? So you're gonna do it. You're gonna like go all in and get the whatever burger that is this house specialty. But instead of fries, you're gonna substitute some sort of veggie item. That automatically changes the tone. And studies say that whoever orders first, people at the table follow suit, which is amazing. You're gonna hear my dog. I'm really sorry about that. So those are great ideas just to kind of keep in mind when you're dining out. But for me, this is why I give this one to Tina. One of my biggies is I don't eat dessert at home, but when I go out, that's my time to treat myself. So how do you treat yourself, Tina, without falling completely on your face?
Oh, well, okay. See, my problem is that I'm a better baker than most anything I'm finding out. And so I try to convince whoever I'm with to order something that doesn't tempt me as much as well. Because, they'll be more than happy to let me have a taste. But, as my mother-in-law says, if it's not chocolate, why bother? So you're like, oh, I hear the banana pudding here is really good. Let's see, if it meets up to all the expectations. So that's one way. Steer people towards the things that aren't nearly so tempting to you. And then if you still, what she said, taste it, track it, and see, right? That's what Alana always says, right? But the main point is that you're growing in awareness when you're hungry and when you're not. And a lot of times it's out. And so, you kind of come to expect it. So you have to ask yourself, are you really hungry, or is this just a habit? And sometimes just asking yourself the question is enough to, for you to decide you don't need it or you can pass, whatever. Something else is that I've heard Alana say recently anyway, is that sometimes after dinner, we're not really looking for, more to eat. We're not hungry, but we want a change of taste. And so that's where your tea comes into play. Maybe something that's a little bit of cinnamon, or, a little bit of vanilla, or just something different than the savory, whatever the meal that you just had. Just changing that taste works as well. And so at home, in my purse, even for that matter, when we're out, I used to try to have some Altoids or, some sugar-free gum or something that'll definitely change, because I wasn't having a peppermint anything for dinner. So that's a, low-cal or no-cal way to do that. And sometimes it's a change of pace. So you're sitting around the table or you're in the kitchen, get everybody up to go for a walk. If you're at the beach, perfect. Go look for those little crabs that only come out at night. You have to use the flashlights and all that stuff. Go explore the neighborhood. Just get everybody moving a little bit. That might aid with your, no big exercise, of course, but just a change of pace or away from the food or the site where the food was, that can change your mindset again. It's like, here we are, dinner and done. We're turning the page. This is the next event. And then sometimes, if you are at a beach house or vacation or whatever, an alternate dessert, those new low-calorie ice creams that aren't really, but as long as you follow the directions, they actually taste pretty much like ice cream, or fruit ices, or fruit or frozen fruit. Sometimes the lower calorie versions of some of those things, as long as it's just a little bit, satisfies that craving for the taste and the sweet, and then you can move on. But yeah, dessert. Yeah.
It can be a snag. I find too that, just even a square of chocolate, if it's really, really good chocolate, like I have started splurging. I found this bar, actually somebody at Summit turned me onto this, and it's called HU. Have y'all seen this? I'll have to take a picture and put it on the page, but it is redonkulously expensive. I think it's like $6 or $7 for a bar, but it will take me 2 months to eat the whole bar because it is so good. I need a nibble. Now, some people would probably eat the whole thing in a sitting. So if that's your trigger, don't do that. But the other dessert that is super yummy that my 8-year-old is addicted to is whenever we have bananas that are kind of past their prime, they start to get all the little brown spots. When you're like, do I make banana bread or what do I do with this? Peel it, wrap it up in saran wrap, and throw it in the freezer. And then you can eat it like a popsicle. It's a frozen banana. It's so good. So good. So
even without the chocolate.
You could do the chocolate. You know what a great way, okay, total sidebar, just as a little FYI. If you have chocolate, the flavor chocolate or the flavor cafe latte, Shakeology, you can take 1 scoop, melt 2 tablespoons of coconut oil, Stir in the 1 scoop of Shakeology until it's kind of like a drizzly consistency. Put it over any fruit. Put the fruit in the freezer. You can thank me later. You can do chocolate dipped strawberries that way. We do chocolate dipped mango. Oh my gosh. The frozen mango chunks. Not like dried mango, but frozen fresh mango with
Really?
latte, and it's great. Yes, you're welcome. You're welcome. Free gift for tuning in tonight. All right, so moving on. I want to respect you guys' time, so we'll wrap this up here. We're doing good. Less than 30 minutes. Yes. Big question that always comes up. What about alcohol? What about the beer, the wine, the margaritas? What can we do about all that? Do I have to give all that up? Well, that was part of our promise with To Be Mindset is no, you do not have to give that up. If that is part of your healthy lifestyle, that's your choice. You get to keep it that way. And this is some awareness about, I'll use wine as an example. You can take 2 separate people. One person drinks a glass of wine at a party, sips on it all night. It calms them down. It makes them able to interact. It relaxes them so that they're not kind of crazed and jumpy. They're less snacky. They're just really zoned in and focused, and they kind of have that 2 hands on the wheel. And if you don't know what that is yet, having your hands on, really it's focused on the water bottle. But that for that person, for that party, it's 1 glass of wine all night, and that is a perfect fit for them. It doesn't affect their scale. They write it down in their tracker, and it works beautifully for their mindset and their lifestyle. Now, other people have that 1 glass of wine, and it turns into 2 glasses of wine, which turns into craving for salt and endless snacking, and then staying up too late and waking up in the middle of the night. And the result for that person is not great. It ends up in weight gain. It ends up in regret the next day, and just things that aren't part of a healthy lifestyle. So, can you drink? That's up to you. That's really a choice that's up to you. And I'll share with you my story recently is that I love good wine. Love it. It's part of we drink it as a family. Our neighborhood is super social. But y'all, if I have a glass of wine, I am up in the middle of the night. Like I cannot sleep anymore. So I have to be super choosy on the occasion where I'm going to indulge. And that's just where I am in my life. And that's okay too. Again, that gives people permission to show up with a cup of tea or something sparkly, some, fun drink. I love Trader Joe's makes all kinds of sparkly waters, and I'll mix in Stir, which is that, it's a non-sugared sweetener. It's like a fruit sweetener. So fun. So there's a lot of other ways to substitute things like that. So again, it all goes back to you. That's another category that you try it, track it, and see. If there's one word of advice, try to stay away from the things that pack a lot of sugar, like margarita mixes and like frozen cocktails. That's another vacation mentality, right? Like pina colada. I would avoid that. Let's just be reasonable. If you're trying to be in weight loss mode, step away. Put an umbrella in your sparkling water. And then the last little bit I was really thinking about today, because I am going to be in the car traveling tomorrow with the kids and the dog. We're not in the car for very long. Hallelujah. But it's going to be an adventure. And your To Be mindset doesn't stop when you get into a car. Okay. So it's still water first. And I heard something today. This was actually in Alana when she did office hours this week. I was like, that's so smart. So her point was, you want to continue to be drinking the amount of water that you've been drinking before, but none of us want to get into a car and then have to stop every 30 minutes, right? Her suggestion was, let's just say you stop every 4 hours on a road trip. Some of you maybe less, maybe 2 to 3 hours. If you're in that mindset, let's just say we're working with a 4-hour block, wait until the last hour and a half to start drinking your water. So if you've got that 32-ounce bottle of water, you're drinking in that last hour and a half, so that by the time the pit stop rolls around, you're ready. Like, it's go time, right? And the same thing if you're traveling 10 hours, that second block. And I thought, this is a brilliant suggestion even for teachers, because there are a bunch of teachers in this group. And that's one thing, like, I don't remember who it was in the group the other day was like, what? I can't take this many bathroom breaks. Does this get easier? And your body does adjust, but I would say that's probably a better strategy, is to drink more water towards the time that you know you're going to have a break from the classroom or a break from your job or a break from your shift, whatever the situation is. And then a focus on car smart snacks. We talk a lot about snacks. Denise did a great video on snacks that she does for, when she travels. But smart snacks are snacks that are portable, they're individual. And that doesn't mean that you have to buy them pre-individualized. You can buy bags and pack them up yourself, but make them single serving, because for real, I brought a bag of, or I might have even brought the whole Tupperware, or like our chip container one time on a trip. That's just dumb. Like, we were just like passing it around the car. It's not wise. Don't do that. Pack them individually into little Ziploc baggies, but you really, really want your snacks to include protein and fiber. Some great examples are the beach bars. I know I talk about the beach bars a lot, but that's got 150 calories. It's got 5 grams of fiber. It's got 10 grams of protein, and it tastes like chocolate. That's a great road trip thing. You just want to not let it melt. Little things like what Tina was saying, cherry tomatoes, Persian cucumbers, baby carrots. Those things do not have to be refrigerated unless you're going to be gone for like 12 hours. You're okay to do it, like those types of things. Roasted edamame, any of your roasted bean snacks. I need to address stay with the free account on Zoom. Sorry, guys. Single individual cheeses, whether it's like a cheese stick or a Baby Bell, those are great travel things. Hard-boiled eggs, you can actually travel with those. And I love the word of warning. Alana said, when you go to a gas station, it gets silly really quickly. I love that, because we don't want to be silly. We want to be smart. We're smart women. We want to make smart choices. And we can avoid that, because gas stations, while they do in general have healthier things now than they used to, why bother, right? Like, if we can avoid doing that and plan ahead, it's great. So that was a lot of content. Any questions? We've got about 9 minutes left. I'll unmute you, Susan. Y'all have any questions? Everyone is ready to go. They're like, let's do this weekend.
Beach it.
Can you hear me? Am I still here?
Yes, you're still here.
Oh, I accidentally, my battery is running low, so I just hit it. So I'm hosting a taco party on Sunday. So I had already given this thought about, because I'm in control, so I can, have lots of great snacks. And my husband can't be with me tonight, but he's primarily the one that we're kind of focused on right now for this program. But I can create lots of healthy snacks, right? Well, the one thing I thought about was alcohol. And Dean doesn't really drink, but I was kind of thinking, gosh, tacos, Mexican, margaritas. So I was thinking, and tell me what you all think, just doing it BYOB.
Totally.
Because I'm afraid if I I'm new to this, so if I go through my whole mindset, I could probably be like, I just won't drink one. But I'm just more nervous about owning the margarita part of the party. Does that make sense? Plus, there's going to be a lot of kids here. We're in a 3-bedroom apartment, so we're all going to be tight. It's 2 other families. But I had started to think about that. So I'm proud of myself to be thinking ahead.
Yeah. What about if you did something like, I was reading, a friend of mine posted the other day that his favorite new cocktail is really a mocktail. It's a no-hito, so it doesn't have any alcohol in it. But you could even do the ingredients for that. You could do like the muddled mint leaves, and you could do lime slices and kind of a simple syrup and seltzer water or sparkling water. And the kids could even, like, that's fun for them, because then they get to make a fun drink. And then if somebody wanted to bring, you could say, like, bring your own ingredients or bring your own, like if somebody wants to add whatever to it.
It's the same ingredients for a mojito. If you have rum, there's like a Caparina and a Capricosa, and it's kind of similar to a mojito, but one has vodka and one has rum. So then if you make that mix, then you can explain the difference, and everybody can bring their little shots of whatever they want to bring.
If they want to put a shot in it, that's a great idea.
Bring your own nip.
I know.
That's great. See?
It's really, Yeah, and that's really for me. Like I said, I can handle the snacks for Dean, but I was thinking about me because that's the area where I'd be that second person. I'd be, oh, I'll have another margarita. Oh, I'll have, and it just is bloating, and it goes back to that's not my best healthy self. And so so that's my question. I love those ideas.
You can have a lot of, I think you can have a lot of fun with it. And actually, if you Google or even, oh, you know what? Duh. Go to the Beachbody blog. I bet there's non-alcoholic cocktails that you could make either way. So people could have the option. I'll look for that link for you too. Because there's just so much fun stuff. And there's a lot of really cool stuff that you can make with fruit.
Yeah.
That would go with that Tex-Mex theme. So you're in Texas. So.
Yeah. I'm so glad you mentioned the mojitos. I forgot about that. That's also really fresh and, without the alcohol, it just is almost healthy, all that. So
absolutely. Look at this. Powerhouse women, problem solving. Mic drop. I love it. Well, y'all have an amazing, amazing weekend. I'm so excited that two of our newest bunnies, that's what we're going to call you now. You get to be
I'm a bunny.
You're bunnies. So
are there any, here's my question. Are there any men on the group or is it all women? It's all women, right?
Right now it's all women. It's not that Dean can't be in the group. He's just going to be like, what's up, ladies? We don't talk about like lady things necessarily.
Right. He would be. Well, I'm going to play this back for him though, because I think there's some just.
For sure.
Yeah. He entertains and takes people out to eat all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love some of those tips that y'all talked about. So thank you so much. I'm glad you did that.
Well, have a great Labor Day. Have a great time, at least a day off, right? Relax, enjoy, celebrate. Remember what's important, all of our friends and family. And we'll see you in the group.
All right. Bye. Bye.